make prescription drug pricing affordable in a variety of other different ways, similar to what was done in the Inflation Reduction Act, where now the federal government, for the first time, has the ability to negotiate lower drug prices on behalf of the American people, those tens of millions who are Medicare eligible. This is a pretty basic concept, right? That the federal government should be able to utilize its bulk price purchasing power on behalf of everyday Americans in the same way that Walmart or Target or Best Buy, by way of example, because they have so many stores and access to so many customers, are able to use what's called their bulk price purchasing power to negotiate lower consumer costs that they then, in some measure, pass along to the people who shop in those stores. And the federal government, for decades, has actually been prohibited under law, thanks to Big Pharma, from negotiating lower prices on behalf of the people in this room and everyday Americans. And with the Inflation Reduction Act, for the first time, the federal government now has that ability to negotiate lower drug prices. And the benefits of that will be seen over the next few years and decades to come for tens of millions of Americans. The last thing that we did as part of the Inflation Reduction Act that I'll highlight, there were so many parts of it, is to cap out-of-pocket costs for those, of course, who are on Medicare on a fixed income. But we're seeing, the cost of medicine that they were paying out of pocket in their wonderful golden years continue to skyrocket on a fixed income. And we believe that in the United States of America, no one should have to choose between paying the mortgage, paying the rent, putting food on the table, purchasing clothing, or getting access to the medicine that they need. No one should have to make that kind of choice. And so one of the ways to bring that about is to cap the out-of-pocket costs, which is a result of the Inflation Reduction Act. We've now done. It was unlimited before, so you can have seniors that were actually paying $10,000, $15,000, $20,000, $25,000 or more on their medicine in a given year. And now, as a result of the Inflation Reduction Act, this year, that out-of-pocket expense is capped at $3,200. And next year, moving forward, it will be capped at $2,000 a year, no matter what medicine. And on each and every one of those provisions, Marcy Kaptur was a champion to bring it about. We know that more needs to be done, but we're going to do everything that we can now to make sure that the people in Toledo, the people throughout the region have the ability to take advantage of what has already been done, to build upon it, and to continue to work together with all of you to make sure that here in Toledo, here in Northwest Ohio, in the United States of America, that the best is yet to come. Thank you very much.
I'm sure you had plenty of questions, right? So we would like to now open this opportunity for those of you to ask questions of our leader and Congresswoman Kaptur. And since I'm partial to Dr. Holt, I'm going to ask her to begin with a question. I'll come back to her. She doesn't have one right now. Okay, you have one? Oh.
That's a look at. Hello to everybody, and I certainly am honored to be here today, especially since Congresswoman Kaptur is my neighbor. I oftentimes interfere with her outside in her garden, and we have these conversations, but certainly I am honored to be here today to actually be a part of this. I certainly take my hat off to Ms. Miller because of the work that she's provided in our community for many, many years. In fact, I am so honored and so appreciative of those services that all of my family now receive services from inDOCtriNATION. In fact, I have a sister who lives in Cincinnati. She refuses to go anywhere else but come back to Toledo to receive her health care at inDOCtriNATION. So I applaud the effort that you're doing here in our community. And you've made a difference many, many years. And certainly I would want to say that publicly because I appreciate that. I have had an opportunity to receive health care anywhere, but I chose to be here. And certainly that's important for me. My question is, I have just recently had a personal, I don't know that I would call it a crisis, but my niece was just diagnosed with breast cancer in the past couple weeks. She is employed with a company down in San Antonio, Texas, but her 87-year-old mother lives here in Toledo. Our problem is that she's covered through the company that she's employed with, but she works remotely. And she works here because she is the only one who really has access to being able to take care of her mother. In the midst of that diagnosis, she is not able to receive health care here because her carrier is out of Texas. And I am obviously wanting to advocate for her because we have two situations. The fact that she's been diagnosed, and secondly, an elderly mother who lives here alone. So I want to know if there are any efforts to be able to look at how we can negate that provider down in Texas from being able to not provide her medical services here in Ohio.
I should probably answer that and say I will take that on through our office, and we try to work with many, many people to figure out how to negotiate this complicated world. I don't know that we've gotten many remote cases before, but this introduces another layer, doesn't it? Because of what's happening to our country. So many of us now speak with remote people, whether you're ordering something or you're calling your insurance company, and it's a whole new layer. So the woman who kindly walked through here, Margaret McGinnis, she works in our Washington office and did so much to help us put this together today. And Sue Rowe, who's sitting there in the purple dress, work on health care for us full time. And we'll try to find an answer for you. I'm so sorry.
Yes.
I hope it's an early stage cancer that we can go after. She needs care right away, doesn't she?
Yes, she does.
There's some good hospitals down there in Texas. Anderson, boy, that's really a good hospital. But she doesn't want to go home, right?
Well, we want her home. We want her to receive care here, as opposed to having to go back to Texas to receive that care, because she would be alone while she's doing that.
Let us figure that out. Thank you.
I was just say, so sorry to hear about the diagnosis, and certainly she'll be in my prayers, our prayers, and look forward to working with Congresswoman Kaptur to try to get the situation addressed. And I appreciate you bringing it up, and we'll return with this particular, fact pattern back to Washington D.C. because, as Marcy has indicated, we live in an era where so many people are working remotely, and oftentimes that could be different states where your employment is based than your residence. And I think we have to make some adjustments in terms of how healthcare coverage is applied in a context where more and more people are working remotely. So thank you for raising that.
Ms. Dougherty from Sandusky, could you tell us who you're with, please?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Sue Doherty. I'm the Director of a Geriatric Social Service in Erie County, Ohio, and we advocate for older adults. And one of the problems that we're seeing is that Medicare and Medicaid are too complicated for older adults. For many people, Medicare Advantage plans do not put the older person at an advantage. It puts them at a disadvantage. And unless there are consumer advocates, Medicare counseling advocates to help them navigate what insurance is going to serve me best, the individual is left to their own devices. And I even have a coworker who is a Medicare counselor, and she said this morning, even if I were 40, I could not figure this out for my parents. So it's not about people being too old to understand. If you don't work in the insurance industry, if you do not work in the healthcare industry, you have to take a course to understand what Medicare insurance is going to meet my needs best as an older person. And the other piece that I would like to share is we just had an incident recently where, so there's Medicare Advantage plans called special needs plans, and they're very helpful if you can understand how to navigate the bureaucracy. We just had 2 people dropped from their special needs plan, and as the Medicare counselor worked according to the Ohio Department of Insurance OSHA office, this person is on the special needs plan. According to the county's JFS office, this person is on a special needs plan, which means Medicare, Medicaid. But when they go to get their insurance on Medicare.gov, they are uninsured. So right now, this person is uninsured because the 3 parties are not talking to one another, so they're all helping this consumer ensure that they have the insurance they believe that they have.
I wanted to make,
So what can we do to simplify insurance? Because if all of us think back when our parents became Medicare consumers, we didn't have to take a course on how to select the Medicare coverage, so I'm sure I have insurance.
Sue, I just wanted to say thank you very much for bringing this up. Is this working or not?
This might be better. If I was at church, I'd say, sound man, get this right.
I completely agree with you that the system is too complicated, especially as one ages. And putting it up on the computer makes it even harder for people to understand and to access. It's really, really hard. I know from caring for my own family, thank God there were people that helped us, because when you're sick, you can't do any of that. And so it really operates against the individual. And I wish I had magic answers. I know one thing, our area offices on aging in this state provide an invaluable service, Sue, what you do in Erie County. You are known as, the heroine for all of our seniors, but think if you weren't there. I'm asked all the time, hey Marcy, which insurance should I buy? And I say, don't buy anything that says Medicare Advantage, because it's not to your advantage. And in fact, there's a bill in Congress by one of my colleagues from Chicago, Jan Schakowsky, to get rid of the word Medicare in front of Advantage, because now over half the American people are signing up for that. But, and I don't know the percent, a lot of them make a big mistake. And when they get in real trouble, they end up having to lose their house and everything because they really didn't understand what they signed up for. And so I think Medicare has to do a better job trying to get information out to people, and I still believe in the mailbox, because especially for seniors, because they read that, and to make it an official mailing of Medicare, not this stuff on the TV and all, and it just really, it drives me nuts. And that they can't get information in the form that they can make wise decisions. And then you get involved in these things, is it this or is it that or whatever. And they need financial counseling before they select their insurance. And that's what our area offices on aging should do, and do well. I don't know if you do that counseling here or not, Donnie. I don't really know. You do it here too. But it is so needed. And I learned through Donnie and some of her staff, one of the organizations that Leader Jeffries won't see today, but what I'm extremely proud of, is one we've worked on for 25 years here called the Toledo Urban Federal Credit Union. And church people came together and they struggled to form this unique credit union, which is a community development credit union. And this credit union provides, for the first time in the history of this city, fair credit to people of color and anybody that wants to go in. And they just moved into their second branch, over on Monroe Street. The reason I mention it is what I didn't know, how many people have high blood pressure in communities across our region here because of the debts that they've accumulated, including medical debt. And so their health is related to their financial situation, and they've had no help in their lives. In Ohio, sadly, I don't know if New York is like this, we got all these predatory lenders. We've got all these, really, the state is encouraging them, right? So they're flourishing, auto title loans, what else are some of the other, cash advances, all this. And one man walked into the credit union, he was $250,000 in debt. He missed his first payment, they doubled it, and they doubled it again. He didn't want to tell his wife, so it gets a little dicey. But your organization has helped some of these individuals. Yeah, so it's related to high blood pressure. I thought, oh my goodness, how do we unload this? And I really do think that credit union model is important, and I'll just say to the leader, because I've never been successful in this, imagine if we could have a branch or some connection to our Lucas County Metropolitan Housing Authority, LMH, thousands of people who don't have fair credit. It's a problem in Brooklyn, it's a problem in Toledo. And we've got to figure out how to help people get out from under these terrible pressures that cause them to have heart attacks and high blood pressure and all these other things that I know that you counsel for, right?
Yeah, I think one of the things that the system misses all the time is the interconnectivity of the things that influence our lives. So if you are drowning in debt, then obviously you are going to have, and correct me, Dr. Ross, if
100%.
100%, that's right.
We managed to get a substantial chunk of medical debt relieved here in town, thanks to our state representative, Michelle Graham's efforts when she was on city council. We used ARPA money because it's 100 to 1. So I think between the county and the city, we put up $1 million, we're going to relieve $100 million worth of medical debt here in town, using our ARPA money. And that has spread. It's up in Kalamazoo, Michigan. So people are doing this all over the place. Chicago is the first place.
And the impact on healthcare, on the health of that person is undeniable, absolutely undeniable. So yes, it's really important, Congresswoman, that we not look at healthcare as some singular activity in this nation, but understand that our healthcare is affected by the environment that we live in, the stress of that environment, the politics that affect that environment, the resources that are available, and more importantly than anything, it's connected to our ability to make human beings feel like they matter. And when people are excluded from the healthcare process, when they are developed, come on, I can have a clap for you. When you start to exclude people from that system or develop systems that are so difficult to navigate, like Dr. Holt's family, we have no opportunity to make this the kind of country, Mr. Leader, that you referenced in your opening remarks.
I'm going to mention one other thing, because Wendy Huntley's here and some really phenomenal people, Donnie, that you've invited. And that is this, we got into social determinants of health here, big time. Our hospitals helped us, okay, and they're making us conscious. Our leadership people in the health industry, we have several of those here today, we want them to speak up. But one of the social determinants of health for our youth is the food they eat. And one of my challenges, and it's not my job technically, okay, I cause a lot of trouble, because I don't like the food the kids get in the schools.
Yeah.
For many of these children, that's all they will eat, and it isn't good. I tell this story, I was out at a UAW event a few weeks ago, and Local 14, Tony Toddy, give him credit. And he invited these two little kids from Martin Luther King School, and they opened the doors, they were so cute. And, they don't know anything about politics. So I said, I'm a lady that thinks about good food for children. Could you tell me, in the school you go to, how do you grade the food? A, B, or C? They said, F! F! And that night at the dinner, after it was over, there was a lot of people in the audience. So I said, if those two boys are still in the audience, it was Weeby Ribs that did the dinner. I said, how would you rate the dinner you just had? And you could hear these two little voices going, A plus, A plus. But back in the corner, I thought, oh, how do we change this? It's like everything's gotten too big for human beings. The systems have gotten too big. And the federal government gives the money to the state of Ohio for the food for the children, to the Department of Education. What do they know about food? Why didn't they give it to the Ohio Department of Agriculture? Anyway, it goes over to the education, and then it comes down through Cisco and all these, what would you call them? Commercial operations. And we're not even connecting to our local farmers. And I asked at the state level, I said, hey, how come these apples are from Washington State? I'm not against Washington State. We've got apples all around us. We live in a mud puddle, Mr. Leader. This is a very rich agricultural region. And they said, well, they sent us an advertisement. And they give us apples that are the same size. That was the answer the state gave me. What do I do about that kind of thing? But anyway, for the kids and food, that is really important. And for many of them, they take food home with them over the weekend. And so we figure in this city, help me if I'm wrong, every night we have 2,000 to 4,000 children who are homeless. That doesn't compare to New York. I mean, you got many more. But I've been thinking about ways of how do you help children learn and eat properly when they're constantly in motion? They're constantly moving. Do you make them a sleeping bag with a special pouch where they can take their tablet from school? And then if you got them good food in the school, then they could take that to the next stop, wherever it is, because you can't change the bus routes. I failed on that. So, but how do you help the children have better food, so important to their development? That isn't necessarily what we came to talk about today, but food, nutrition is really important in terms of student growth, their brain, and their performance. And it isn't the superintendent's fault. Dr. Durant, it's not his fault. It's the system, just like the insurance system, that we can't seem to make it better. So I just want, I don't know, Wendy, if you want to comment on that?
Sure.
Explain what you do.
So Connecting Kids to Meals is a local nonprofit organization, and we have the opportunity to make sure the kids have easy access to healthy meals at no cost, hot meals, throughout the school year. And we focus on the out-of-school hours. And we've been doing this work for about 20 years. We utilize our federal child nutrition programs to do this work, and we're able to provide about 600,000 meals to kids every year. We have deep partnerships with the school district to focus again on out-of-school time, not the school meals, even though the kids are like, can you provide your meals to us during the school? No, we can't do that. But we also focus on our homeless shelters. We also focus on our community centers. We have over 220 program partners, so in the summertime, we become the primary provider of meals, serving about 6,000 meals every day. And during this time of year, about 2,500 every day. And so we need the awareness of the issues associated with food insecurity for kids in our area in particular, because we all know that that's what ultimately leads to health-related issues when they don't get the nutrition, such as diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure, things along that line. When you talk about the stressors that parents are feeling, the kids not knowing where their next meals are coming from, that's equally as damaging to our youth and our kids in our community. So thank you for the opportunity.
I just wanted to thank,
I'm sorry.
Okay. Well, first of all, thank you, Mr. Miller. I'm from Brooklyn, I can do Thank you, Mr. Miller. Thank you, Pastor Thomas. Thank you, Sue, for making that observation. It's good to see you again. We were able to see each other during the State of the Union address, and I think, by the way, President Biden was very I made the observation afterward that boxing has Smoking Joe Frazier. After that State of the Union address, he saw Smoking Joe Biden. I thought it was very strong on behalf of the American people. But thank you for this discussion, because I think, as Marcy indicated, working on the social determinants of health, it's one of the things that community-based health centers, FQHCs, do in such an important way. It's holistic, and it certainly is critical that we continue to focus on these things: diet, exercise, environmental pollution, financial stress, all of which contribute to higher rates, disproportionately higher rates of certain illnesses that we tend to find in lower income or working class communities, such as the neighborhoods that I represent back at home. We often say, in neighborhoods, while we still are working hard to tackle community-based violence, if you look at the numbers related to gun violence deaths, and you compare that to the numbers related to health-connected illnesses and eventually death, there are more people in America who die from drive-thrus than drive-by. More people in America, and it's not even close. We got to deal with gun violence, but more people in America who die from drive-thrus, lack of access to healthy food, than drive-bys. And so it's critically important for us to focus on it. One of the things that Marcy was able to do in the first 6 appropriations bills, and we're working on the last 6. And Marcy Kaptur is a powerful member of the Appropriations Committee. So she works on these issues of bringing resources back home. And in the first 6 bills, we were able to increase support for the nutritional programs for women, infants, and children by $1 billion. There's still more work to be done in this space and in other spaces, and certainly, Sue, as you indicated, we've got to figure out how to simplify and streamline access to health care across the board, certainly for older Americans. It's far too complicated, and there's far too many people who are bad actors in terms of trying to take advantage of our older Americans throughout the country. And these are certainly things that we need to continue to work on back at these.
One of the things I was going to ask the audience, and thank you all very, very much for coming, and thank you to my staff. Steve Kadich was here earlier. I mentioned Margaret, Stacy Fowler's here, Ben Kamens, all worked very, very hard to make today possible. So thank you so very, very much. Mr. Leader, I don't know if you got this problem in Brooklyn, but one thing that we're seeing here, we're getting all these notices in neighborhoods that are not at the high end of the housing market, okay? But they're just average neighborhoods. Sell your house. Call this number, sell your house. And they're not registered with our local realtors. I'm worried we're on the verge of another washout in housing. And over in East Toledo, we've got a real problem where these outsiders, they're California-based whatevers, and they bought up all these properties, they put people in there, the people are not carefully screened, they're messing up in the neighborhoods. It's just like, what is going on with the housing market? You can't do anything about that today, but I just want to make you aware, I don't like what I'm seeing, because we really were hurt by the housing crisis back in 2008, 2009, and to this day I believe that certain financial interests in our country increase the book value on housing beyond its ability to produce. and produced wealth. And when it all collapsed, we know that African Americans lost half their accumulated wealth since the founding of the Republic, and Latinos about 30%, and everybody else about 20%. So we were really hit hard here by that housing crisis. And I don't know if you're hearing this in other stops, or if any of you have something you want to add on that, but this is really getting significant.
I would like to add
Yes.
something. First of all, thank you for having me today. My name is Jody Grossman with the East Little Family Center. First and foremost, Marcy, thank you. Marcy just recently supported the East Little Family Center in providing funding for us to help with our expansion of our facility, which is much needed, so that we can be a one-stop shop. We're already partnering with Donnie Miller through the MHA. There's a clinic that's in our facility that will also be renovated. But the thing is, we see the people who have the most needs. They come to us and say, I can't pay my lights, I'm going to be kicked out of my home. We don't understand medical insurance, and I surely can't explain to them what the process is. All I can do is connect them to the services that are already available to them. But our families are struggling, they're not getting the meals they need. They come to us, we make sure that we have snacks. We make sure that we're providing the programs that they need to be successful at the end of the day. I personally was at the Home and Garden Show, asked to get an estimate of my windows, and the gentleman said to me, well, we don't service your area. I said, hold on, I'm a troublemaker, and I'm in East Toledo 100%, and our community, because we service those families. I said, well, wait a second, why don't you serve my zip code, 43605? I don't know, ma'am. Well, he sent someone a message. I said, oh, well, we'll make the appointment. So they scheduled the appointment for 3 o'clock on a Saturday. Thursday afternoon, my husband got a call and said, sorry, we don't serve your area. I was furious, because at the end of the day, if that's happening to me, can you imagine what's happening to families who don't know basic things, and when you try to get them connected, it's like walking through a maze. I'm going through with my mom right now. I have to help her through her benefits. So it's really hard for me. What we struggle the most with, our families are one thing, but as a nonprofit, I can't afford my insurance, so I have to pass on that cost to my staff member. How are we making that better for nonprofits who have very small staffs? I have 65, but a lot of my staff can't take my benefits because they can't afford it. So that's frustrating for me. We've gotten better because our broker has said, we're gonna look for a better company to serve you. We're not in a group plan, we're in, we get the best deal. My increase this year was 7%, last year other companies wanted to be 22%. How do I pass it on to my employees who already we're making better wages because we've made a concerted effort through the Family Center to say, I have to pay my people more. They're living wages, but they still can't. I have a manager in one of my programs, she refuses to take a raise because she needs to keep her Medicaid or her Medicare. What is wrong with that picture? So those are the things we see on a daily basis. And we work with all these partners, connecting kids to meals. We work with everyone to make sure that we know what we should connect our families to. But we're the ones that see those families first. I can't afford to live in my house. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna be in my car. I've been living in my car for 5 months. How do I help them? So the bigger picture is really none of us can afford benefits. So this act is gonna help a lot of people. But how do we continue that and make sure that we keep that progress going? Because it's got to keep going at the end of the day.
I want to mention something because this gentleman is so intelligent, okay? All these degrees, law degrees, working with corporate America and all. The Inflation Reduction Act, when I started out, I talked about how it could benefit not-for-profits. Let me tell you something that happened in an adjoining county that I represent. And I'm not against this, but this is who benefits. All right, so the president moved Intel back to Ohio from Singapore in order to make chips that go in everything, computers and your phone. So they're building it, they put it in the richest county in Ohio, Lincoln County. I don't know why. Anyways, they moved down there, And they're building it now. So in our county up here, Fulton County, a company called Archie, about 4, 5, 6 years ago, worked, and they bought with 3 farmers 1,000 acres or 800 acres. They made a decision they were going to build a solar field, and somehow, through the Neanderthal state of Ohio, they got a power purchase agreement to move the power, which will be about 230 megawatts. It's about a quarter of what Davis-Besse produces, down to Intel, because they put Intel in a place where there's not enough power and not enough water. Figure that out. I mean, I can't figure it out. So the 3 companies that are getting the benefit under the law for all of this are BP. Okay, now, I say to myself, great, they want to be carbon neutral by 2050. They got enough. Meta and Amazon. I'm going, what about Libby Glass? What about our hospitals? What about the people that never left us? What about Andres Hardware, Bayer Hardware, these places that create our culture? And so you're supposed, how do I get the capability to us, to the people that live here, and give them the tax benefits? And if the hospitals theoretically, I don't know if this is legal, if all of our not-for-profit hospitals could come together, you get the tax benefits that BP just got. That we replicate, we do another solar field, or we bring up geothermal, or we do thermal heat recovery. That's a whole speech I could give just on that. But my worry is that we're not gonna be able to do it. I don't know if Brooklyn can do it. Do we have the people that can bring the right folks around the table so we understand the benefits of this astounding law? And the president put not-for-profits in there. I thought, oh God, thank you. These are the people like you that hold us together. And, but the one meeting I went to, I said this, and a gentleman from one of the top corporations here said, he was like number 2 in the company, he goes, hey, Marcy, tax credits. He said, when we put the roof on the Mudhead Stadium, we had to attach 200 pieces of paper. I said, we have to attach 400 pieces of paper. We're going to do it in order to benefit. But there's a fear of who's going to sign, you know? But I'm just saying to you, just be aware this possibility exists, and maybe somebody here knows people that could help us do this here. But we're no different than Glenmore's district, or some of the Chicago, Chuy Garcia, some of these other districts. I'm saying to myself, uh-oh, who's gonna get it? And we have a challenge to meet this test. So I just share that story with you. And and the power purchase agreement provided for the Fayette School District, which is a not-for-profit, $30 million. Thank God for Fayette. Fayette 2 years used to be, it's a brownfield, they got all this stuff they have to clean up. I thought they really deserve it. And that's what happened, but nobody in Toledo region has applied for this or even come to me. And I'm going, uh-oh, how are we gonna do this? So I just throw that out there to you.
I think I'm getting a hard rack from my friends around the room. I think we had room for one more question. Less than 30 seconds, and
My point will be that I've been writing these down. You'll both get letters from me. I'm Dr. Jonathan Ross. I'm president of the Board of Health here. We don't pay enough attention to the social determinants of health. Other countries spend twice as much as we do there. We spend twice as much on health care. Too late, too far downstream. We need to get upstream. And those are the places where we live, work, earn, and play. Ag supports. 70% goes to grain, which we use to feed animals, rather than to fruits and vegetables, 3%. My gracious, let's look at that. The Pentagon, their own analysis said they're wasting over $100 billion on fraud, abuse, useless weapons. How about we turn that into something beneficial for ordinary people? We need healthcare that's, we have so many people who are not just uninsured. We've got underinsured and uninsured, which is what we're talking about. Don't know if you're covered or not. Like this lady who's covered in Texas. All of a sudden she finds out, I am not covered because you're not. I mean, we need something that's universal, simple, and affordable. I like Marcy. businesses, I've spent working on this, okay? This has been my wife's project, and 4 or 5 boards, Michigan, Ohio, looking to create universal health care for everybody. There's a law to let states move forward. Your own state, New York, has some of the leaders in the nation thinking about how do we do this, all right? And I'd love, if you give me a name, I'd love to connect you with your own people down there who have been working in the state of New York to get universal health insurance for New York. Representative O'Connor has something called the Saluka Bill, state-based universal health care. If you look at all the hard things we ever did, every single one, a state did it first. You know, it's the nation in healthcare, it's controlled by the states, it's not in the Constitution. So we have to deal with the Ohio Department of Insurance, the Michigan Department of Insurance, places where I'm doing my advocacy. And there's a national group you should know about, Physicians for National Health Program. I'm the past president, over 20,000 physicians who support the trial, improved expanded Medicare for all. CBO looked at it, you go to any doctor, any hospital, no co-pays, no deductibles, any place in the country, we still save $40 million because we're wasting so much money on the financial complexity. They promised us, this is Nixon, he promised us that we would get lower costs because good old American competition would drive down costs, improve quality. It's not true. The emperor's got no clothes. We got 50 years of looking at this now. We got 4,000% increase in the number of administrators. We got a 200% in the number of doctors and even fewer nurses. We have a jobs program for paper pushers and money changers, and we know what Jesus said about that. So to me, I'd love to connect you and you, Marcy, more if you want to, with some of the nationally and internationally respected experts we have that say, you're crazy. Why are you doing this, America? Why do you let your people? We took Saddam Hussein out the rat hole over in Iraq, and our best army doctor sticks him up just so we could hang him. And we won't give ordinary people that kind of health care. We can do it. We can do that. So that's my side.
Thank you, Dr. Ross, and all of you for your presence here. One more? Okay, all right, I guess we can unwrap. I have one more.
Well, so I just wanted to say first off, there's a reason I didn't have a mic, but in regards to physical health and financial wealth, we need to also include mental health and put the head back on the body. Everything is so interconnected, so that's my first one. My second ask is that in this region, so many of us have community health workers, home visitors, and those are the boots on the ground that are helping to make the connections for individuals that need resources or getting help getting scheduled with a doctor. You know, for some, they've never had insurance, don't know that process. And much like East Toledo, Lucas County, Canada, we pay a living wage. It's not anything that somebody's gonna run out and, you know, buy their next new car or whatever. So any federal dollars that could help to grow, especially, but even sustain the workforce of our local community health workers could be so beneficial.
Thank you so much. Andy's wrapping me up real hard back there. So let us take away from this all of the information, the comments that have been shared. And we know that Rome wasn't built in a day, and we will not fix this in a day, but I believe, as Dr. Ross said, we can do it. And so can we take the time now? Yes, sir. Can we take the time now to thank our people's champion, Congresswoman Kaptur, and our leader, Jeffries. I believe somebody said, and that's the way it was. So let us close with, that's the way it is. Have an amazing day, everybody.
The Midwest. You're good. So. Hey guys. Let me fix something real quick. So this was a roundtable. with obviously Marcy Kaptur. Tone knows who that was. And that was Hakeem Jeffries to her left, our right. I got most of my recording done pretty early, so I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna go live. And the media person is not happy about it. He may be coming up to talk to me. He's been giving me dirty looks ever since he saw the chat run across my phone. We'll just have to deal with it, because I am here on a stringer assignment and press. I didn't have a chance to title it. I just wanted to get going. But yeah, this is what it is. Let's check something real quick here. Why can't I open YouTube on my other phone? No worries. Thanks for joining me. I know you couldn't hear very good. They had a PA or a microphone at the beginning, which I'm glad, because that's when I was doing my recording. But then it was popping and stuff like that, so they stopped using it. So I'm gonna step outside and actually I'm gonna do a couple of quick recordings just with my iPhone and watch me. Couldn't hear it, yeah. You would have been able to at the beginning. It just got bad. Let's say weren't able to use the PA anymore. Quick recording here. Yeah, but nobody uses the federal minimum wage anymore. Maybe as I'm heading out the door, there's 10 cops standing at the door. So. Well, they all got their backs to me, so I should have gotten a good enough recordings. So I'm gonna take you guys outside with me. Let's turn this around. Go up here. Let's go. So this was at a new free health clinic that they call it a free health clinic. Of course, nothing's free. These are tax dollars. Nexus Pharmacy. Yeah, oink oink. Yeah, they're all on the door there. Look at this building, man. It's a beautiful building. Our tax dollars bought. Sorry about the wind. Down there and everything. Let's get to the car real quick, and I'm gonna have to end this, then I'll restart it in a minute. media person was questioning me as soon as I walked in the door. He wanted to see the email of my stringer assignment and everything. I said, nah, I'm good. I said, I have one. If you want to check with them, you can. So this is open to the press, right? He said, yeah. I said, well, then leave me alone. I won't get in the way. I'm not either. I'm not going to sign myself to a fucking party that, yeah, one may, in my mind, may be a lesser of two evils, but they're both fucking evil. I mean, that sounds like a Democrat to me. Man, look at this. Look at how good this guy's parked. Oh, shit. Fucking out in the road. Hey, Oklahoma. Oh, shit, they're in their car. Take this off the stand. Heat going in this bitch. Fucking snowing this morning. 70 degrees 2 days ago. Oh, thanks for the super chat. Anarchy or bust. There you go. That's more like it. Oh, man. Will this flip if I flip it all the way to 180? Let me see. Oh, good. Nope, I'm upside down. God damn it. All right. I'll just deal with that. Woo! It's chilly out. Yeah, it's fucking flurries outside right now. I did have my body cam on too, though, just in case. We'll kill that for now. All right, so this is what happened. I told you guys, even though I don't vote, I'm working the polls. You know, no, I'm just kidding. Working the election polls just to see how corrupt the system actually runs. A little experiment of mine. The fuck, I still get something else in my zipper. And at first they assigned me right by my house, which is not really where I wanted to be. I wanted them to put me in the city, the inner city, so I can really see where the corruption's really happening. Not a whole lot of it happening out in White House. They called me last night actually and asked me if I would move into an inner city one. I was like, fuck yeah, I'll be there. Well, looks like I got a couple super chats. How the fuck do you pull these up? Boop. There we go. Oh, both of them from Dirty. Thank you, buddy. Oink, oink. Anarchy or bust. Thank you, sir. So, yeah, that's what I'm going to be. I'm going to be at Toll, know where it's at Walbridge Park shelter. I'm going to be at that polling place. So I'm thinking I'll be able to at least see some division. I'm just a restreamer. Yeah, I know. What the hell? Why would I do anything live? That's all I ever do is just steal people's content. Yeah, it's South End. Right off Broadway there. Let's see if this affects it. When it connects to the auto, or the Android Auto, it may affect it. Hang on. Ooh, not bad. Took all those videos and been streaming for an hour, and I'm only down to 62%. No, I agree, Midwest. There are individuals that have said that. You know who I'm talking about. I'm just being sarcastic. All right, so I may go live again. I gotta go get my booklet. I forgot my handbook for this poll thing, and it doesn't start till 6, but it's already 2 o'clock, so I want to run home real quick. And then I'll probably just do some running around with you guys. Maybe chasing down some police calls and stuff. I do have a vacuum I gotta drop off today too at the UPS store, which I forgot and left at the house. But I was in a hurry to get here. So I'm gonna end this. I'm gonna go live on the driving channel for now until I get that, and we'll go from there. Thank you, everybody. Oh, listen, look at the love. Look at the love. No worries. I thank you. Thanks someone somewhere. Thank you for coming. I appreciate the view. I appreciate everybody who did jump in, even though I didn't even have a title for this. I will throw a title, edit a title into it afterwards, but I didn't want to waste time typing in a title and all that shit. I just wanted to go live as fast as I could as soon as I got done recording. And I gotta upload the videos that I just did to Stringer and see if get that money. All right, so I'll probably go live probably right away with the other stream on the other phone. All right, guys, later. Thanks for hanging with me. Fuck those democratic socialists.